One of the things that I'm really passionate about as a small business owner is growing the community around me. And part of that is by investing in the youth around me, trying to encourage them and help them with any issues that they have to try to bring them into the cosplay and like the adult, I guess, art community. Because cosplay has moved from just something that, you see younger children doing to something that you see the full range of adults doing as well now.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down.
I am the greatest. He'll fall an eight to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking Jack, I'm going to cut it to five.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Ville Chillin' Podcast. Today we have Jen with us from ShadowBrite Creations. How are you doing today?
Doing fabulous. How about y'all?
Pretty good. So we first heard of you, of course, from Dusty, who is the organizer for Via Calori, all things Via, and she thought you'd be a great guest to bring on. So you're a vendor for Via, right?
I am, and my husband's an artist. So we've been doing Via now for probably 8 or 9 years.
Wow, that's a pretty long time. That's about as long as they've been in Louisville, or close to it.
Pretty much. I think we missed the first 2, but we were there every other time.
That's cool. We talked to several of the artists up there, but I think you're the first vendor that we've had the chance to talk to. And so what do you do? What do you take to the Via Calori as a vendor?
Well, as a vendor, Via is a very unique opportunity because you have Girl Scouts that are interested in learning not only for badges and things like that, but also just kind of recreational shopping. So you have a whole lot more educated audience, I guess, than you would normally, because the girls are going to ask questions and things like that. Normally what I bring is a lot of fantasy-based items. One of the things that I'm really passionate about as a small business owner is growing the community around me. And part of that is by investing in the youth around me, trying to encourage them and help them with any issues that they have to try to bring them into the cosplay and like the adult, I guess, art community. Because cosplay has moved from just something that, you see younger children doing to something that you see the full range of adults doing as well now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were at PopCon last year, and I mean, all ages literally dressing up, which it's really cool to see that example from adults, because my daughter, she's 6 now. But when we went to Via last year and she saw people dressed up, the next day she pulled out her old unicorn costume from Halloween and had a little unicorn headband on and her little tutu. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's what it's all about. The pretend play and the imagination is something that people don't get quite as much as they used to. I feel like when I was a kid, I was kind of left to my own devices. So imagination became really important to me. And nurturing that in younger people is definitely a major personal goal of my own.
It's a tough goal, but it's a very good goal to have. I mean, they are our future generation. They are our future. They will be our caretakers one day. So, the roles reverse very quick. This life is awful short sometimes. So it's really cool when people are able to lean into that and, give that example to younger kids or even teenagers and everything, that they can be themselves. They can let that imagination flow.
Well, and that's one of the nice things about cosplay is it allows you to try out some new personalities or new character traits that you maybe don't have personally. I'm actually a pretty shy person. Doing podcasty kinds of things and stuff like this is kind of new for me. It's not something that I'm super comfortable with, but it's one of those things where you kind of get opportunities. You want to branch out. You want to be able to share what cosplay and creative arts have done for you. I mean, they've made a huge difference in my own life and being able to have a work-life balance and being able to actually enjoy life in a really meaningful way.
So when did you start cosplay?
I probably started cosplay actually when I was a teenager. We had a program called Odyssey of the Mind, which was it's an academic challenge kind of thing where you do a skit and then you also have another thing going on at the same time where you're solving some sort of problem. Um, it really got me interested in making costumes, in creating characters and making backdrops and things like that. When I first found out that like cosplay was a thing you could go do, my friend was like, you got to come with me to this thing and you're going to dress up. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not doing that. But he took me to the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention, and I've never looked back. It was an absolutely amazing experience because it allowed me to kind of connect with people that I wouldn't normally do that with. Because I'm kind of shy, it's difficult for me to approach people. But with cosplay, it doesn't matter because they're interested in your character. They're not necessarily interested in you as the person. So
Right.
it kind of gives you a jumping off point. You know what I mean? So it makes those social connections a little bit more fluid and a little bit more comfortable for everybody involved because you already know you have something in common.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like one time you can actually put on a mask and it's the right thing to do. You know, you don't have to be yourself. It's
Exactly. And you can practice new skills. Like if you are not very outgoing, you can practice being more outgoing. And if you happen to get rejected, they're just rejecting the character. They're not rejecting you. So it's okay. You know, it really does allow you to practice behaviors that you maybe would like to have of your own someday.
That's an interesting way. I've never really thought about that aspect of it. You know, it's like usually you see very popular characters that are popular in various media, whether games, movies, and things like that. And I always just saw it, I guess, as a fan kind of thing. You know, you want to dress up as your favorite character or something like that. I never really thought about that whole
personal development.
Yeah, exactly. The personal development side of it, or even being able to approach it that way. That's a really unique perspective.
Well, and that's one of the things that I'm really passionate about trying to bring out is because it really can help you in ways that you really wouldn't have originally thought. You know, it can make you more confident. It can help you if you have self-esteem issues, because we all have those in some area of our life. You know, just knowing that there are other people out there that are feeling the same thing that you are, it really helps you feel not so alone and helps you really connect back to, you know, the community, which is what this is all about to begin with. Like cosplay is about a community. And the reason it's about a community is because we're all trying to lift each other up in more of an art situation as opposed to we want everybody to win. Everybody's here to win. We don't want anybody to be left behind.
Yep.
You know, like they're everybody is involved.
That's awesome. And you actually just had a meetup yesterday, didn't you? That you hosted.
We did. One of the things I try to do at least once a year is a meetup between cosplayers and photographers. A lot of cosplayers put a lot of time and effort into their cosplays. Some people make the entire thing. Some people buy it online. Either of those people would like pictures of themselves in those cosplays because they mean something to them and they put a lot of effort into them. And the nice thing about working with photographers is that they can do the same thing. They can help bring out your confidence. They can help bring out things that make you unique. And the other thing is they kind of look at cosplay from a different lens, like you were talking about earlier. I kind of come from it from a personal development aspect. You know, other people just see it as a recreational thing, which is totally fine too. But there's so many different facets for something that you can use as a make-believe that allow you to have those opportunities that, you know, normally people don't have. They don't get to experiment. They don't get to make mistakes. It's very hard to make a mistake now, particularly in social media. So having those connections and being able to get those photos of those cosplays that you've worked all your year on, or, you know, that 20 hours or whatever, or even that you took 3 hours to find the best cosplay you could find online, you know, showcasing that and the joy and just all of the positive emotions that come from that, because it's a little different for each person, and that's one of the things that's really exciting for me, is watching these people grow and bloom and see them come into their own.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome that you take that community aspect of it, and really you can see from the Facebook page, the ShadowBrite Creations page, that you do a lot of that, like trying to include the whole community in one form or fashion, at least from what we've seen of the page.
Thank you.
Another side of it that I find really interesting and unique is of course, the personal development side you've already spoken on, but the mental health side of it. When you first emailed us, you mentioned the mental health advocacy, and you can see that shine through on your page too. And all of the things that you've talked about are things that help with mental health. You know, it's something that's not taken serious enough in today's society. And so approaching something with that type of mentality, I think is really cool.
Well, thank you so much. I personally have a couple of different mental illnesses, and it is kind of difficult. But it's important to try to be as healthy as you can. Everybody has different challenges that they're put in their life, and some of us have mental challenges, some of us have physical challenges, some of us have other types of challenges. But really focusing and using your passions for good, I think, are a really important thing to do. Mental health in general. One of the things I'm sure you've seen, if you've seen my Facebook page this last month, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I do basically blog entries. I think this year I did 13 of them, and they cover topics like therapy, medication, mental health basics, stress, sleep, just normal things that people don't think a whole lot about, that we could definitely improve in a way that would make them feel better every day and help them be a better them.
Yeah, one I know that you just posted recently was the emotional brain training. I was reading through that before we got started, and I thought that was really interesting. Just, you want to, I guess, tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of an overview. EBT, or emotional brain training, is basically where you check in with your brain and you see why you are feeling what you are feeling. So if you're feeling, let me back up a little bit. So basically what you do is, the idea is that you're going to check in with yourself 2 to 3 times a day. Just to kind of make sure that you're aware of where you are and what is going on around you. That can mean acknowledging, I'm annoyed, I'm at work, my break was 15 minutes late. Not me. That could be acknowledging that, I spent too much at the grocery store today. I need to make some other decisions later this week. Those kinds of things. But it's a way to kind of grade your emotions in a way that allows you to functionally work with them. Not only are you acknowledging that you have an emotion, but you're acknowledging that there is something that you can do to try to make that emotion a more positive experience for yourself.
That's the post, of course, was very detailed. It was very well done.
Yes, extremely detailed. There's different levels of doing emotional brain training. There's 4 different levels. If you'd like the whole information about it, it's on my page. I would strongly suggest you read it. All of those entries that I do for Mental Health Month in May take me about 6 months to put together the previous year. So basically, I incorporate other things that I've come across. Some of them are in my own therapy journey. EBT is something that my therapist brought up, which is one of the things that I wanted to kind of share, because it really did make a difference for me, because it's easier to put words to things instead of like, I'm freaking out for no reason.
Yeah.
Being able to sort that and compartmentalize that and figure out how to use that really made a difference in my own life. And I definitely wanted to pay that forward and share that with other people. The other thing you find is cosplayers in general, or anybody in the nerd community, we're neurospicy. We may not know it for sure, but we all have traits of ADHD, autism, Asperger's, spectrum kinds of things, anxiety, depression. That's really common. So being able to bring those tools to people that are obviously going to need them at some point in their life is really important for me.
Absolutely. And I mean, in a big way, a lot of science fiction and stuff, it's fiction, but it's a lot of people who really dive head first into it. It's an escape from all of those feelings of anxiety and everything day to day. And I'm sure cosplay is kind of the same thing. It gives you a moment in time to just kind of let those feelings of anxiety, depression, etc., kind of fall away for a little bit. A way to help cope with those.
It really does. It allows you to be present in a way that you don't have to finance with the future, because that's something we all do. We finance the present with the future. That's perfectly a normal way of coping with things. But being able to put on a character and become that character for that short period of time, you're exactly right. All your worries can kind of slip away. The only thing you're worried about doing is being that character for that period of time. It really does kind of give you a second to breathe and have a moment outside of your own experience, because everybody's had a moment where they've just been so overwhelmed they just can't even anymore. And the nice thing about cosplay is it allows you to take yourself completely out of that moment into a totally different situation, and you can be okay for a little bit. And then you can go back and try to deal with what it still needs to be dealt with. It doesn't make any of your problems go away. All it does is it allows you to have some distance so that you can have some rationality when you approach them.
And that distance is a very necessary part of it, of healing, I'm sure, as well, because when you just focus on the problems, whether it's this going on, that going on, you just get so overwhelmed, it's hard to really think about them clearly in the first place. It's hard to approach it from the right way, whereas a lot of times when you take a break from something, you can come back a little more refreshed or with a new perspective.
Very much so. You can just take a moment to kind of collect yourself and refocus. One of the other great things about cosplay is it's a great way to give back to the community in a charity kind of situation, like with VIA. I also work with a couple of different charities that go to hospitals. We do charity fun runs and things like that for some of the kids' charities. Those kinds of things are also really important because they allow us to get out in the community, but they also kind of help the magic stay real for kids. With social media and things like that, with the internet just in general, a lot of those fun kid things kind of went away. Because they can do the research on their own and they get to find out, and you don't have a whole lot of options in that sometimes.
yeah I'm trying to protect my daughter from the internet for as long as possible and social media and stuff.
God bless you and good luck. Like it's wild out there. I'm kind of glad I don't have kids because I don't know how I would explain to them how to deal with social media. It's a weird thing.
It very much is. The only thing she really uses internet for is like Netflix or Disney Plus. So she can use those, but she doesn't have any other devices, at least not here. I know she has a tablet at her mom's house, but that's for mommy to handle since mom wanted to do that for her, and that's fine. But when the time comes, it's going to be tough.
It is. And, one of the nice things about cartoons just in general, and this is kind of outside of just cosplay, but they teach parents and kids how to have conversations. And I think that's something that a lot of people kind of miss. One of the reasons that we did cartoons in the first place was so that they were a learning experience. Like they were actually educational. That's where we started with them. So they still are, even though they're kids' shows. They teach kids how to interact with adults. They teach kids how to interact with each other, and they teach us how to cope. And having conversations around social media and stuff like that. I have to admit, some of the cartoons and shorts that I've seen on that type of topic have been way more educational for me as a human than, any like paragraph in a book about this is how you should do the thing,
Yeah. And what I've learned, at least with my daughter, is when left to kind of choose what they watch, kids do gravitate towards more educational shows. I mean, she loves
Really do. We're
she loves
interested in
Blue's
stuff.
Clues.
Kids are so curious.
Yes.
They just want to know how stuff works.
Yep. And even just some of the shows do really good. Bluey's a big one right now that people love. Like I said, she loves Blue's Clues. She loves just the new Alvin and the Chipmunks. And when you really look at each episode, it's dealing with something, some sort of behavior that has to be corrected and done in the right way. And
conflict resolution kind of thing.
Yeah, conflict resolution. And I mean, she loves Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles too. But it's funny how I loved the Ninja Turtles when I was younger, but she knows more about like each individual role of each of the turtles more than I do, just based on how they write it these days. And it's funny seeing her learn those lessons from cartoons. And of course, they're generational cartoons that, they've remade them. The new Scooby-Doo is vastly different than the old Scooby-Doo, but it's serving the same purpose.
Yeah.
And it's
they
funny.
Still have that core in there.
Yep. And it's funny seeing her pick up on the same ones that I always watched. So that's kind of cool. Excuse me. Oh, man. So do you dress up when you go to VIA as well?
I do. I cosplay every day when I go to VIA. Most of the events that I go to, I dress up. Now, whether it's actually like a fantasy character or it's just something that's that general theme, I do tend to dress up just because it makes it more fun for everybody. And I like to dress up. I'm not going to lie. I just like doing it.
Nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, like you were saying, it gives all the kids, the Girl Scouts and things, encouragement for one, seeing an adult, do that in the first place. Because, a lot of adults just wouldn't do it. Whether they think it's just not right or like it's not the place or who knows what reasoning somebody might have. But like I said, Annabelle threw on her unicorn costume the second day because she saw people dressed up. Do you sell, I guess since you're a vendor, you sell some of your resin art and stuff there too?
I do. I sell a lot of my resin art. I also have stickers and stuff for the kids. Since this is kind of a kids-focused thing, I sell some stuff that I wouldn't normally sell, just because the audience is different, and I'm very aware of what my audience is interested in. So I've invested in some extra stickers, particularly ones that are kind of popular right about now. Mushrooms are super popular for some reason, and crystals. So
always.
I double down on that. I sell some cosplay items. I make hats that I usually sell. I'll have some other limited run cosplay things. And I usually, after I've worn something for a while, I tend to try to rehome it somewhere for someone else to use because it's not really broke or anything. It's just I'm bored of it. You know what I mean? Somebody else somewhere will find something enjoyable about it. The other thing I try to do is do things that are more fanciful. So most of my items anyway are more mystical and kind of I guess fantasy based. I do a lot of dragons and stuff like that, just because that's where my personal interest is. But the other thing is dragons, particularly across cultures, mean good luck, positivity. Those are the kinds of things that I kind of try to draw into my resin art.
And that's really cool. I think that's a picture of some of the dragons showing up behind us now.
I do botanical and crystal dragons. They're a mix of different botanicals and crystals that are intentionally put together in a way to elicit a particular feeling. So I have like Dungeon Run Dragon. He's got all kinds of stuff in him. He's usually full of like my extras. I have just a little bit left of everything. So Dungeon Run, that's going to be what that is. I've got a mana boost. I have a med pack dragon.
That's cool.
So I kind of theme them like that. The other thing I do is I'm kind of into the mystical arts as well. So some of them are about ominous positivity and things like that too. So I kind of straddle the divide on that, I guess.
Can you tell us a little bit about what got you into the resin art? Did the cosplay kind of inspire some of those kind of creations, or?
It kind of did. I needed a couple of different resin pieces for a couple of cosplays I was doing. I was trying to do a Raven from DC Comics, and I decided I wanted to make my own crystals for Raven because she has red crystals on the belt and then neck piece. So initially I got resin just to try to do that. But then I started looking at on Instagram and things, and I got really obsessed with watching them mix it in with the glitter. And I'm not going to lie, I have a little autistic kid here at heart, and like I could just watch them mix glitter all day and would be happy as a lark. So I decided I wanted to try it on my own. And I went out, and my dad asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I told him I wanted some resin. So he bought me some resin, and I bought me some glitter, and I never looked back.
That's awesome. Do you like make your own molds, or because it looks like
I do not make my own molds. I do not have that particular skill. All of my molds are pre-bought. However, getting the result out of the mold, if you've seen people that have done resin art, you'll notice that it's vastly different. A lot of us do have the same molds, but they do not look at all the same. We all have different techniques in how we add things to the molds in the first place, how we demold them, things like that. But it definitely has helped my cosplay, and I've gotten several commissions from friends that need jewels for whatever cosplay they're doing or whatever. So that's actually kind of been helpful too, because I like to try to help my friends out too.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing the resin art?
So I started the resin art in the dark days of COVID in 2019. It was my get out of jail free card for COVID. Everybody had one thing that kept them sane during COVID. Resin was my thing. So I've been doing it since then. I was trying I also work in healthcare. So for me, COVID was a little bit more intense than it was for the general public, because I got to watch people leave us every day. And I really needed something positive in my life right then. I really needed something beautiful, because all I was watching was beauty go away. So resin became that thing that got me through that.
Yeah, it was especially tough on anyone working in healthcare. My mom was, she did registration at a hospital, and you could see just how much it hit her when she was here. So, yeah, that was not a fun time for anybody, but especially anyone working around healthcare, period, from all the rule changes and everything. I can't imagine it's every facet became more stressful, it seemed. So kudos to you for that. That's never an easy field, but especially during that time.
Well, thank you.
So, excuse me. So what, I guess going back to VIA a little bit, when did you first hear about VIA, I guess? And what would you say is kind of your favorite thing about VIA?
So the first time I heard about VIA was actually at one of the Comic-Cons that I was at doing just one of my comic things. They were passing out the little cards for, an event coming up. And I thought it was kind of interesting. I thought it was something my husband would be interested in. He's a tattoo artist, but he's also very interested in just doing like drawings. So I was like, this is something we could both do, which is always a positive. If you're married, you want to be doing it with your spouse, and it's hard to find those things sometimes. Yeah. So I was like, all right, we're going to go kind of take a look at it. I was actually one of the first featured cosplay guests at VIA. That was something that they offered to me, which was huge for me personally. It was my first guest spot, and then it also helped me grow my career from that point as well.
That's awesome. It is. There's so much there, it's hard to even describe it.
It really is cool because it's so much more than just a street painting festival. I mean, the street painting art is absolutely phenomenal. Do not get me wrong. That's one of my favorite parts of VIA. But watching the creative people that come with the street painters is one of my favorite things to do as well, because they are all creative, quirky people, and getting to interact with them because they come from all over the United States to do the street painting. So you're interacting with people you wouldn't normally have the ability to interact with. For me, it's really, I'm trying to learn more about composition in art, just in general. That's something that I'm trying to get better at. And talking to the artists at VIA has actually helped me a lot. I understand perspective a lot better. They were able to explain that to me. It's really easy to understand perspective when you got a giant 10 by 10 square in front of you and somebody's like, I'm doing a grid. And I'm like, okay, I got this. This makes sense. It's a really neat environment for so many different reasons. You can learn a lot of different things and you're exposed to a lot of different things. The topics of the different art squares can be anything from something that's like horror or Halloween themed to you've got really light fairy looking things. I mean, it really does span the gambit.
Yeah, and that's something that we definitely noticed. And the age range of artists and everything is so surprising
phenomenal.
too. You have kids that are like younger than my daughter, all the way up to elderly people. It's really a coming together moment because everyone's just on a level playing field, really, where you're on your hands and knees with some chalk, just doing the best you can to express yourself. And it really is. It's community at its finest, because everyone is on a level field, and it's people, again, all walks of life, all ages, all areas of the U.S. It's an awesome thing to witness, especially from the walking bridge, being up there, and it's everybody just kind of doing their own thing. And then you have the music stage and everything too. There's literally just everybody.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
there is stuff constantly. They've got the 501st, which are Star Wars cosplayers there.
Yep.
They've got all kinds of things. They've got like a STEM section where they've got things from the Girl Scouts that teach them about science and engineering. I mean, it really is just a very well-run, all-encompassing festival. I mean, I can't really say I dislike anything about any portion of it. There's even a guy there that does these giant bubbles, and I got to tell you, the bubble guy, he is one of the major favorites of every single human that goes there.
Yeah, Annabelle loves that. She loves the bubbles. I ended up getting her one of the ropes the kits that you could buy. I'm pretty sure she was there for at least half of the 2 days. She was just by the bubbles, just chasing the bubbles.
We all enjoy chasing bubbles.
Yeah.
One of the other things, one of my friends that comes with me to VIA a lot will do mermaids, and I will do that for a period of time while I'm at VIA. We have tails, and we've got a kiddie pool that we blow up, and
that's cool.
Do mermaid shots for the kids.
That's awesome.
Annabelle's going to be excited about that.
Oh yeah, she will definitely love that. Yeah. Oh man, it sounds like you kind of do a lot of the different aspects of VIA too, from the art, the chalk art, but then also the your resin art, your cosplay, and I mean that's only a few things that's offered there, but that's really awesome. I think that's one of the best things about it is an environment where literally anything's welcome. If you ask, doesn't matter what you do. If you ask Dusty, hey, can I be a vendor or can I do this? She's most likely going to say yes, as long as it doesn't start a fire or something.
And that's one of the great things is it is such a responsive festival. And because I do festivals on a fairly regular basis, I feel that I can say this is they're very interested in not only the attendees' experience of the festival, but in those of us that work and put together the festival too. And that's something rare. Because usually, it's kind of like the military. Get in line, do the thing. But she's really interested in incorporating anybody that wants to be a part, which I am all for. If you want to be a part of the community, we're going to make that happen. We figure it out. Let's do it.
Yeah. And it goes right back to what we kind of opened with, and the mental health and being accepted, and finding your acceptance. That's one thing that you see a lot there, is acceptance. I think that's one word that describes it pretty well.
Most definitely
Find your people there in one corner or another of that venue.
Yes. And you can find lots of people. There's lots of people groups there.
Yeah.
You don't have to pick just one. There's lots of flavors.
And they have a lot of dogs too. There's so many doggies.
Yes, the
dogs.
dogs.
That's one of my favorite. I love taking cosplay pictures with the puppies. Like, that just makes my day. There's nothing better than doing it with the dogs, because they're more excited than the kids are half the time. So
then they feed off each other's energy. I think last year there was a dog. It was this big white fluffy dog with a purple tail. The owner had dyed the dog's tail purple or something.
That's awesome.
Annabelle is very quick to point it out. She was so quick. I think the Girl Scouts, because they have a group of them that go around and kind of interviewed the artists and vendors and stuff. I think they interviewed the dog. I'm pretty sure they interviewed the dog.
That would be amazing. That is one of the other things that Dusty does do for VIA, is she does bring in a bunch of rescue groups. They had last year, I think they had rescue bunnies. I know there were bunnies there that I hadn't seen before. They were new. And there were a couple of different, I know that there was a basset hound rescue, and a couple of other different rescues too, which is also great. I mean, if we can find some, animals, some homes, that's fabulous too.
Yeah, especially with the state a lot of the shelters are in. They're just way overfilled and understaffed a lot of times. So yeah, we are all about save all the puppies.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. So what are some of your other upcoming events other than VIA?
My next event is actually Anime Fest, which is going to be in Frankfurt. It's an anime only convention, so most of the stuff is anime inspired, but obviously anybody can come and cosplay in whatever they would like, and there are always a number of superheroes as well. So don't make you think that you can't enjoy yourself. I also have a couple of mystical markets coming up. That's kind of a fun experience for me. It's a group that meets every third weekend of the month here in Lexington, and it's a group of readers that do psychic readings. There are ghost hunters. There are crystal people. There are those of us that vend altar items, all kinds of metaphysical type things. If you're interested in that, if you'd like a tarot reading, there's a lady that does henna. They do belly dancing, all kinds of fun stuff. It's just a really fun thing to do on Saturday and Sunday. And it's something that I enjoy doing just as a vendor. I just like watching people and talking to people the whole day. It's a real fun time. And then Obscurious is going to be in Danville. It is a alternative festival. So basically things that you wouldn't normally see. Obscurious is kind of a combination of obscure and curiosities. So you're going to see kind of a random assortment of things, but unique things that you wouldn't see, at your average craft festival kind of thing. And then of course, VIA is my big event of the, I guess, Halloween season is VIA. So
yeah, it does tend to coincide right before Halloween,
which is great because we can get the kids to wear the costumes an extra time. I'm all about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, so sounds like you kind of really have your hands full. You're averaging about one event a month or so, looking like.
Yeah, it kind of depends. September and October are always really busy because we have all of the Halloween conventions and things. Most of those I don't get the dates for until July or August. So I don't have any of those on my calendar quite yet. But I basically do an event every single week in October, most weeks in September. And then March is also bananas for me. Those just seem to be my crazy months, but I try to stay pretty active. It's also something to kind of keep me connected with the community. It's good for me. I sometimes get stuck in my own little rut, and it's good to get out there and, interact with people.
Absolutely. And so if people want to find out more, I guess obviously your Facebook page we've mentioned a couple of times.
Yeah, my Facebook page is probably the best place to find me, mostly because I like to write, and Facebook is the thing that allows me to write and not like 4-sentence versions. So if you'd like to know what I'm actually up to, check out Facebook. But I also have an Instagram and a Blue Sky as well. So you can always check me on there. I'm at most of the local conventions in the Lexington, Louisville area. And I usually go to most of the ones in Cincinnati as well, just because that's our general area that's pretty easy for me to get to. But I do hope to see you all out somewhere, hopefully at VIA, maybe more than once. That'd be awesome if you came both days, because there's new stuff every day. I mean,
every day.
Yep, we were there both days last year, kind of walking around and trying to absorb everything. It's a little overwhelming the first time when you don't really know what to expect. And of course, Dusty.
Really overwhelming the first time. You're correct. There's so much stuff.
Yeah.
And you have so many choices to make. But I promise you, none of those choices are going to be bad ones. You'll get to see everything.
Absolutely. Yep. We definitely spent most of the time just kind of walking around trying to absorb it. And of course, like we said, we spent a lot of time with the bubbles. Couldn't get away from the bubbles for too long, because as soon as we want to go to one place or the other, the bubbles are right in the center. It's almost like that's the strategic plan.
They know what they're doing.
Absolutely. But yeah, we'll definitely be at VIA. We're looking forward to it. Looking forward to trying to, again, take in a little bit more. I know before we went last year, Dusty did tell us there's a lot. She always makes it a challenge of how to even describe the event or explain the event, and there's really
it's hard.
Can't really. It's almost impossible feat, but that's what makes it so special. That's what makes it what it is. So yeah, we'll definitely see you there for that one. And I think I saw on your Facebook somewhere too that you take what's the word I'm looking for? Orders, I guess, if people wanted to reach out to you.
I take commissions. If there's something in particular you want, you can always message me. I'm happy to do something custom. I do have some limits on that, mostly as to if I have to buy a new mold or something like that. But I do take customs. I do enjoy doing them. My turnaround time is usually 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. Very good. We'll leave all the links in the description, your Facebook, and then I'm sure we can probably find your Instagram and stuff too, if it's all under the same name, ShadowBrite Creations. So
yeah, I'm easy.
Before we go, can you tell us a little bit about the ShadowBrite Creations, the name, like where it came from?
Yeah. So one of the things in the cosplay community, pretty much all of us come up with our own name. We don't really go by our actual name. That's it's not really frowned upon, but we're all a little bit more unique than our Christian names. Let's put it that way. So everybody comes up with a different name. I really wanted Lightbright, but it was taken. But my stuff tends to be a combination of rave accents and then also like gothic accents. So ShadowBrite was a good second runner-up that was not already taken. So that's how I came up with that. And it started out as ShadowBrite Cosplay, but now I do way more than just cosplay. So now it's ShadowBrite Creations, and we just leave it at that.
The umbrella.
That's awesome. You said Lightbright, and of course, I flashed to the old Lightbright toys.
That's exactly it. That's what I wanted to do.
My daughter's actually been playing with hers the last few days, so that's kind of coincidental. I got her one for Christmas once I saw you could still get them, and she's been just pegging away, just making different little designs. She doesn't even bother with the papers anymore. She just puts them in there. So that's funny. All
Top
right.
level play right there.
Yes. All right. Well, it's been really awesome talking to you a little bit, getting to know you and some of your story from what we've seen. And of course, just hearing about how you incorporate the mental health into everything, and then the unique perspective on cosplay, and being able to test out personalities and stuff. I really found that very interesting. I never would have thought of it that way. So thank you for your time today. It's been awesome. I guess
really appreciate it.
With
Well,
that,
thank you guys so much. I've really enjoyed it. This has been great.
well, and thank you for coming on, of course, because I know you had said that you're not usually one to do this type of thing, but we really appreciate it. It's important to talk to the people so involved in all these communities and festivals, and we love learning about the different things, different aspects of each person involved. So thank you. I guess with that, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything? And unless you have anything you want to share, I guess we'll call it there.
Oh, sounds good. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good, we just smoke a joint and calm down.
I am the greatest. He'll fall an inch to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking jive, I'm going to cut it to 5.